He's the former lightweight champion of the world. He's a promoter and entrepreneur. I think he's an MMA legend too. Anthony Showtime Pettis. I mean, you're still in the game. Do you accept the tag of MMA legend so soon?
Oh man, it's crazy. Like honestly, like when I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe how much I've done in this sport in such a quick time, man. Like when I look back at my career, I've been in the game for it's gonna be 15 years, fighting as a professional. I'm like, man, that time flew by and I had some battles, so I think I paid my dues in this sport and I kind of paved the way for other athletes to follow. And I think that's what comes with that legend status.
Absolutely. And you're still in it, as I mentioned, just announcing that you'll be back for a second season with the PFL. We certainly want to get into that. But how about this? Showtime as a promoter, February 11th. That's Friday night. It'll air on UFC Fight Pass, and it is the debut from Showtime FC, your promotion. So, first of all, congratulations. I love
Thank you.
the mid, in career pivot to sort of start your and continue starting other business ventures outside the cage. This one involves the cage, though. When did this dream sort of pop into your mind to get into this and not wait until retirement, but start it right now?
Yeah, I actually had this plan for a while. I think it came from my brother's career. Seeing where Sergio is at. The Bellator champ of the world right now. And I kind of helped him, guided him in his career decisions, if you will. Where he fought, when he fought, what weight class he was fighting at. So I kind of was playing that role in his career already. Kind of like manager, promoter. Making sure he was taken care of well. And we have great agents as well. But I was playing that. I saw that side of the business. And I think it started when I was like 16 years old. I opened my first Taekwondo gym in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I saw the entrepreneur mindset, to see like, man, I could make as much as money as the work I put into this. And then fighting kind of led that to be true. All the work I put in, led to this position here. And now with the fighting show, it's like, now I can give these guys a way to get into the bigger shows, PFL, Bellator, UFC, ONE FC. So man, it's just it's kind of something I was in the process for a long time, if you will, because I had a lot of guys following my career in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We started the management company based on that right there. All the guys that I had in Milwaukee that were following my footsteps that were just killers in the gym, and then they would get transferred to like these MMA managers all over the US or over the world, if you will, and then they would have to fight other killers. So like now we have a full circle of like where my guys can fight, they can get showcased on the big show, and it's me that brought it to them.
This is great. This is great. And I'm just assuming by hearing you talk that you're not just, a figurehead or a brand. You're hands-on, you're right in the mix
Oh
of it
yeah.
all. Which part of it, whether it's the matchmaking, whether it's, creating that example of what your promotion's going to be, and what being a walking example of that, and doing the media. What do you love about this most up to this point, before the first show?
It's a challenge. It's all a challenge, man. All the fighters talk about fighter pay, and they talk about being treated differently, and it's different when you actually step up and try to like make that happen. And that's where I'm at right now. Because myself as an athlete, as a fighter, I'm still currently fighting. I'm kind of the figurehead for these guys that are on my show, to be treated fairly, to see how it's supposed to be done. When I came up in these ranks, I was fighting in bars in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where they were smoking cigarettes while I was fighting. It was a free for all. So now I'm just trying to bring a little more structure to it. There's other athletes and other fighters doing the same thing as well, which is, I respect it, man. The more opportunities we have as fighters that we can come together, the better it is for the sport.
Well, you tested free agency and seemed to be happy with PFL. So when you
Yeah.
see current UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou really taking as big of a stand as we've seen guys in this spot for, in recent years, and kind of risking it all and putting on the line. How is your perspective on that, considering you've been at the highest level of the UFC, you're still fighting, but now you're also trying to set the stage to help your fighters in your own promotion?
I think it's kind of it goes both ways, right? Because like Francis Ngannou doesn't have to re-sign with the UFC. There are other places to fight. I think as fighters and as the community of people that watch fighting, they see the UFC as the best place to be. If you're not in the UFC, you're not famous, you're not popular, you're not the best in the world. But now that's starting to change. Like my little brother fighting Bellator, becoming champ over there. The PFL champ, the guy that just beat me in the PFL. I'm coming over from the UFC, and now that just made me want to work that much harder to know that these guys are working, man. There's killers out there in every organization. And the pay thing is this. it's a business, man. I understand that. Now that I'm on this side of it, you have to make the UFC keep making money and keep moving. That it costs money. Like, it's not like they're just that goes right back in their pockets. Dana's a friend of mine. Dana took care of, and Dana helped me buy my mom her house. Like when I was a champion of the UFC, the first thing I did when I made that money was buy my mom a house. I could never I could never disrespect that. Like, he was there and he helped me with that. So I appreciate that. From the UFC. And for me, chasing free agency, it was just that time in my career. I was there so long. I fought in 3 different weight classes. The PFL came with a great opportunity for me to try a new format, and I'm excited to start this season differently. Last season I didn't know what to expect, and the quarantine was there, and this time around I'm fired up for it. I'm ready to go.
Now you can fight in multiple weight classes. You mentioned 3 divisions there. You were at 155 and had 2 really fun action fights with the PFL, although both were defeats. Now look, the second one against Roush Manfio, I kind of feel like you got robbed, but it is what it is. Clay Collard upset you in the first fight. Where do you want to fight at weight wise for the next one? Because you got one Jeremy Stephens talking a lot about your name, your waistline, saying he wants a second date. How does all that impact your future this coming season? Where are you going to fight?
That just adds fuel to the fire, like Jeremy Stephens. I already got a win against Jeremy. And I think, I forget how many years ago that was, way back when I was on my title run. And I'm undefeated in rematches. I think I rematched Ben Henderson, got 2 dubs, Donald Cerrone got 2 dubs. Steven's going to be the third guy if we see each other in this tournament. But now I'm looking forward to fight Clay Collard again. That was a fight that I'm like, man, that dude. I mean, just because he didn't have that name, that was like one of them tests. I was like, yo, that was a fight. Now I got to get back in there, and I come up with a better game plan and a better mindset. And like I said, last season I didn't know what to expect. That was my first time, putting on a different pair of gloves that didn't say UFC on them, and stepping into that different canvas. It was just a lot of new things for me. And, I don't make excuses. It's just how do I adjust and how do I do better for this year? And that's what I'm focused on, man. I think, I'm probably 12 to 14 weeks out, depending on where they put us. And it's just grind time.
Now, I'm interested in how your mental focus changes being, okay, you're 35, meaning you can still dial up and be great on any night. And you've proven that in your last UFC fights, and you always take on tough competition. So if a loss happens, it happens. But how do you get that out of yourself? Is it a different mindset and training? Because your body has changed. Your mind has changed. Everything changes throughout your career. How different is it nowadays with using wisdom and less reliance on athleticism?
It's a lot harder to use to actually have the skill set besides the athleticism. Early in my career, I was tapping guys out, jumping off fences, and it was coming pretty easy to me, honestly. Later in my career, I had to slow it down, and I got injuries that prevented me from to have the movement that I used to have. The weight cut got harder. I was just bouncing around weight divisions, trying to figure out where my home was. Later in my career, it definitely got a lot tougher, and that's what honestly I enjoy it. The fans in MMA are really cutthroat. If you're winning, they love you. If you lose, you suck. And I understand that. I've been around long enough to be on both sides of that, to be on the winning side and the negative side. But I think as the wisdom grew and my skill set, my mindset grew as well. Understanding my feelings, my emotions, how to control who has effects on my life and how much I allow them to affect my life. With social media, it can get dangerous, man. If you go in there and you read some of them comments, you're like, dude, these guys are assholes, if you will. But I think experiencing all that, being at the highest level, being on a Wheaties box, bro. I was on the Wheaties box, being on the
pretty
Wheaties
high,
box.
Yeah, it's pretty high up.
Having 3 losses in a row, trying to figure out what weight class I'm gonna go to. I've been all over the place in this, and I love it all, and I wouldn't change anything about my life. I love every fight I fought. The fights that I lost, the fights that I won, the great memory, the career memories that I had, that all led to this position right here. And I feel like I'm just on the right path. I think this year I feel like the most in tune with myself. This is where I'm supposed to be at. I'm doing the right things, and I'm making the right decisions. It's definitely hard work on all aspects. Running the fight show. I still own my gym back home. I just had another baby. I'm about to fight another season in the PFL. But juggling all that's what makes me feel alive, I feel like.
All right. How hard, because you love fighting. This is your craft. This is your passion. It's not always advantageous if every fight turns into a war. How hard is it to turn that off? How hard is it to not take the bait when you're in the midst of it?
Yeah, that's my problem. I think that's why my little brother is a lot smarter than I am. Sergio just keeps his composure and he doesn't break rank. That's what Duke calls it. Breaking rank is like, you're fighting like a black belt and then someone hits you in the face and then you become a brown belt and you break rank. So Sergio doesn't break rank when he gets hit or if he's getting frustrated. Whereas me, I start getting more wild and start getting more, into these wars. And I like I said, I've been on I've been the hammer and I've been the nail. And this is part of this game, man. Like sometimes it's just their night, man. You can just feel it.
But I love your I guess your legacy because you're former champion, you're on the damn Wheaties box, and you've got impressive wins that'll stand the test of time. I mean, you tap Charles Oliveira and look how hot he is right now.
Yeah.
But you've got losses because you went for it in big fights. How much do you love that you have that other half of your legacy where it's like you just get respect for never ducking anybody, always trying to make the best fight? I mean, even a loss to Tony Ferguson's one of the best action fights that nobody talks about in recent memory. You always delivered. Are you prideful about that you delivered that for the fans?
I was that guy, bro. I fought everybody. I think, when I was the champ, I wasn't like, even when I became the champ, like, who's the next in line? Like, I think I won the belt in December and I fought in February or March. I was like ready to rock. And I think that's just who I am. I feel like I could whoop anybody's ass. Even now, I'm like, even the guys that beat me, I'm like, off night on my end. I'm always this is how I feel. I think, coming from that Tony Ferguson fight, I lost that fight, I broke my hand, and then I moved up to 170 and I called out Wonder Boy. I look back at that, I'm like, what? Damn, I'm crazy. Like, what was I thinking? I'm like coming off a loss, going to fight the next best guy in line at 170, a weight class up. So I think I definitely made some crazy decisions in my career. But like I said, man, I wouldn't change anything about my career. I think everything happened for a reason, and I'm excited where I'm at.
Do you have any ones that got away? Any like, hey, I don't know how it's going to work promotionally, but I still need to fight that guy? Is there any of those in your career that hey, if Ben Hendo's going to linger, I'll fight him another time? Like, who is like the guy where you're like, man, I'd like to get another chance at that guy?
There's actually a lot of those guys, honestly. There was guys at 170 that was like, yo, if I like Nate Diaz, that's another one. Like we had some beef and some drama. We fought, squashed everything. Like that's what I love about martial arts and like guys that understand the game. Like once you fight, like there's nothing else to beef about. It is what it is. Like, you can take the wins as a man, you take the losses as a man. I would say Nate Diaz would be one. Conor McGregor's one that never came around. That was like we were both in the same weight classes, in the same areas. I mean, he fought in the same 3 weight classes that I fought in. Khabib, which is one that was like about to happen, but it was just timing wise. He was calling me out when I was a champ. RDA rematch, Rafael Dos Anjos. That's one I definitely want. I mean, there's so many of them, man. I think I fought so many guys. It's like I fought the who's who. If you look at my career, you look at my career and you go back and like look at the order I fought them in. It was when they were the hottest. Max Holloway, he was the hottest one prospect at 145. I'm dropping 10 pounds to fight him. Oliveira, I fought everybody.
I love that part about your resume, and that's why I say off the top, undoubtedly, living legend, still doing this thing, and we certainly wish you luck in the PFL season coming up. You're also, making some key moves for your future, as we mentioned, not just getting the promotion game, but I saw that you invested in Next Level Hydrogen Water, which is signed on as the official water partner of the PFL. But I talked to Manny Pacquiao last year; he had done the same thing. What sort of attracted you to this business venture?
Honestly, one was the people involved, like the people that are behind the scenes of this company. A couple of them I had just some relationships that was like, man, they put me in that position. Like we met each other at the perfect time. It was like, oh man, that happened for a reason. This company and everything is happening at the right time. So I think one was the people. Two was actually the product. Once I switched over to the hydrogen water, I felt like my recovery time and my endurance and like just, for us, it's especially at my age, any little kick I can get, any little extra I can get, I take it. So like 2 is the actual product. And 3 is just, I see the potential of growth with this in this company, the people behind it, the product and the market that they can hit and what's available in that market. I think they're going to be a big time player right away.
They claim they can't, it's not official yet, but they claim they can prove this cures hangovers too. Is this true? Next Level Hydrogen Water? Does it help?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I've had a couple hangovers. I was just we were in the Bahamas for my wife's birthday, and I was wishing I had some there. I didn't bring anything with me, but I was like, damn, if I had some, I'd feel way better.
Love it. But hey, to be in the same, overall branch there as one Manny Pacquiao, does that inspire you as well?
Most definitely, man. Manny Pacquiao is a legend, and to see what he's doing in his country and becoming, going into politics and like, using his athletic ability to gain a stage, but also using that stage to make a difference. And I think guys like that, that's what I look up to. Guys that are like even like a De La Hoya, GSP, Anderson Silva, like the guys that are having brands besides their actual fighting brand. That's what this is about. Like you only get a certain amount of time in this spotlight. What can you do with it, and then where you're gonna go with it when that's over. I think.
Who smartened you up? Like, I asked that respectfully. I say, like, not everybody prepares perfectly for the transition out of this game. How did you get so ahead of that?
I think early in my career, I was fighting for the WEC, and I became really, really popular and really famous. I was on like MTV, I was on all these shows, but I was only making like $10,000 a fight. I'm like, man, like this, I'm popular, I'm famous, but I can't live off of this. So I think I really dug into like entrepreneurship. I had my gyms, so I had two gyms that I started at that time, Taekwondo gyms, and they still go to this day. I opened a barber shop, and I had a sports bar while I was a fighter the whole time, WEC, UFC. And I think I just got smarter as I got older in my career and where I'm giving my time and where I can get returns at. And I think as my bank account grew, I was able to put investments in different places where I couldn't do earlier in my career. So like early in my career, I had to like use my time and my hours. And like now I understand like, okay, my money can do that for me. And that's where I'm at now, attaching myself to brands that are doing the same thing, trying to grow and trying to like build a difference, build a legacy, if you will.
Well, we wish you well on all of these endeavors, including Showtime FC,
Yep.
your new MMA promotion, which debuts Friday, February 11th, excuse me, February 11th on UFC Fight Pass. So you're getting some nice placement to start this off,
Oh yeah, that's what we were waiting. We were waiting for that, man. We were trying to find a deal to like, because like I said, I wanted to give a platform to the next best guys in line. I didn't want to like have to go to these cities and see like who sells the most tickets to like make these shows make money. For me, I'm using this as a stage for my guys like get to these next promotions. So I think when Fight Pass came, it made sense. And I'm excited about what's going to happen February 11th.
All right, you have one of the most indelible highlights of all time, the Showtime kick against Ben Henderson under the WEC flag. It's, when you look at the overall arm of the UFC, it's arguably the best highlight that they have to put in those reels, and you've hopefully made a lot of money off that. I've never seen someone duplicate that. It's like when Anderson Silva face kicked, he hit Belfort with the face, then suddenly Machida hits Couture with it, and it's a thing. I've seen a couple of guys try, Michel Pereira in the UFC's running up the cage backwards. Why hasn't it been topped yet?
I think it's just one of like the way it happened is kind of what made it really special. It wasn't just like a random kick. It was like the fourth round, the last minute, the title fight. Whoever wins that last round wins the fight, and then that kick is why I won the fight. So I think that's why like the moment was so great. But I mean, it's honestly something really hard to land. That kick comes from like a Taekwondo background. I would jump off walls and break boards, and like people would like clap and cheer. It was like a cool looking thing. So I took that concept and I started throwing it in sparring, and that's where it actually originated from. But I think Zabit, if he fights again, that dude might be able to land it. He's athletic.
I just watched him against Jeremy Stephens, rewatched that back on Fight Pass, and he tried it, but Stephens kind of backed away, and that's what got me thinking. No one's really gotten close yet.
Nah, I don't think so. So I think I was trying. Like, I got a couple of partners in my show that that are with the fight show that are helping with this. Like I jokingly made a joke. I was like, hey, I'm gonna add a bonus if anybody lands a Showtime kick, and they were like, I don't know if you can do that. I'm like, it's my promotion, so I think
I guess you can.
We're definitely gonna add some performance bonuses on these cards to make it fun.
All right, you referenced it earlier, but I got to close by asking about your brother, the champion of the world, Sergio Pettis, who had at bantamweight, who had just a sick all-time great. It's different than the Showtime kick, but it's got its own legacy.
It's his Showtime kick.
The shot, it's when you are losing almost every second of a championship fight against a potential all-time great in Horiguchi as he did, but to end it like that, what are you feeling like in that moment? I'm sure you were right there, as close as you can be. That's his Showtime kick, man, and it's incredible.
It is exactly what he needed. I've been saying this forever, man. If you go back to like my first interviews, I'm like, Sergio Pettis is one of the best in the world. Like once he figures out how good he really is, like it's gonna be scary. And he's only getting better. Like he has the wrestling background, he has the Taekwondo background, he spent the years kickboxing, he has it all. So I think when he did that, I was just like so happy and proud, man. Like I spent my life trying to like make sure that kid has a good life. We lost our dad when I was 16. He was killed in a house robbery. So like I took that kid under my wing, if you will. And I think seeing where he's at now, he's just got engaged, he just bought a new house. That highlight, I'm like, blessed. That's all I can say.
What a moment, and they're starting their own Grand Prix tournament, and he's the face of it, right?
We're both in tournaments, so we're excited.
It's going to be great. So PFL season 2, you can catch this man, Showtime Anthony Pettis. Do not miss Showtime FC, February 11th. Hey, really happy to see you in such a great spot across the board, in and out of the cage, Anthony Pettis, a true legend. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Best of luck. Thanks.